name is John Broad. I'm the president of Crime Stoppers of Michigan. We are here today to help the Lizzie Mae Collier Sweet family find their missing loved one. Lizzie has been missing for 4 years, since Monday, January 8th, 2007. She lived with her husband in the 19,200 block of Dawnshire Drive in Brownstown. Her house was set on fire, and when the police and firefighters responded, Lizzie's husband told the police that his wife was missing. The police believe that foul play may be a factor in this case. Lizzie was 49 years old, 5 feet 11 inches tall, and weighs 205 pounds. If you have any information about this crime, please call Crime Stoppers at 1-800-SPEAK-UP. We guarantee that your call is anonymous. You will never be asked for your name. Your call will not be recorded. Your call will not be traced. You will not have to make a statement to the police, and you will not appear in court. There's a cash reward up to $1,000 if your tip leads to an arrest. You do not have to wait for a conviction. If this tip that you give us leads to an arrest, you will be paid up to $1,000. If you know anything about Lizzie's whereabouts or any other crime, please make this anonymous call. You would want someone to call if it were your family. Next is Detective Grant from the Brownstown Police Department. Detective.
John said this marks the 4-year anniversary of Lizzie Mae Collier Sweet basically disappearing from the face of the earth. We've exhausted every lead. We haven't stopped this investigation for the 4 years it's been going, and we're now at a point where we need someone to come forward. I can't believe that after 4 years no one has said at least something about this case. So anybody with any information, no matter how small that you might think it is, please call Crime Stoppers and let us determine it may be the break that we need in this case to find Lizzie Mae Collier Sweet. This case is the one word that everybody happens to have to deal with in a case like this, and that's closure. Louise Collier is with us today, Lizzie Mae's sister, and she's going to reach out and do for the family what they want is closure in this case, and we're hoping that your tips will lead to that.
The next speaker is Louise Collier. She is the sister of Lizzie.
Hi, I am Louise Collier. It is my sister who has been missing for 4 years. It has been for very long years. Since all of this has happened, we as a family, we have been in a stagnant state. I have 2 children. My children dearly miss their aunt. I miss my sister. That was my only sister. Both my parents are dead, so there's a real sense of loss. And I'm sorry. Since she's so close to the holidays have been hard for us to get through. We know as a family that she is gone. I've recently spoke to my family members, as a matter of fact, and we know as a family that she's gone. All we're looking for is closure right now. I don't know how 4 years have happened and somebody didn't see anything. My sister was almost 6 feet tall, almost 200 pounds. I mean, how does a 6 foot tall, 200-pound woman just vanishes off the face of the earth? I mean, it's like someone's seen something. I understand this should not be a black and white issue. I mean, a black woman missing in the middle of a suburban neighborhood. This is not a black issue. This is a human issue. I mean, this is a person who's missing. My sister was a good person. She was one of those people that would give you the shirt off her back. If you've spoken to any of her friends, you know this for a fact. For her to just be missing like this is very unfair. And we just want to find out what's happened to her, have some closure, maybe the holidays will come and go this year where we don't have to be dreading. As I said, I have a 12-year-old, and we just dread when the holidays come. And it's been 4 long years. And every year our New Year's resolution is, let's find out what happened to my sister. I just came from a funeral a couple of weeks ago, and I was looking at both of my parents' gravesites. And I was thinking, okay, I was kind of talking to my mother, who's been dead almost 10 years now. And I was telling her, well, hopefully real soon my sister will be resting somewhere down here too. I mean, we have a family plot, and it's my hope this year, before the year is over, to just put my sister also in that spot so I'll know where she is, and I won't have to worry where she's at, what's happened to her. And just basically the not knowing is the hardest part for us. And that's all I can say. Oh, this one.
Who has the first question?
My first question is for Lieutenant Grant. There are obviously, this has been going on a long time, but, and I guess even up until last year, there were some, like a letter and things like that. Can you just briefly talk about some of the tips that you've received and why? I mean, I guess nothing really has come out of that.
Yeah, we've handled numerous tips since the original, but sometime early last year I had received a correspondence from an inmate, and spent a lot of man hours and a lot of investigation into that, and it turned out to be completely erroneous. Just somebody trying to get attention from within the walls of the prison.
What kind of information? I mean, I know you're looking for anything, but specifically,
if you remember the story, Lizzie Mae Collier Sweet's husband, Roger Sweet, is in prison probably for the rest of his life due to this investigation. We obviously feel he has direct involvement in the disappearance of Lizzie Mae Collier Sweet. We're striving. He probably didn't do it alone. He probably had to reach out for somebody. As Louise said, Lizzie Mae was a larger woman. I doubt if he was capable himself of disposing of her or doing something with her, if that's the end result. So somebody had to reach out to somebody. There had to be some conversations somewhere. 4 years, you would think that there would have been a grave, something would have been discovered in 4 years. The waterways were searched extensively back in '07, and when you talk to the Wayne County Marine divers and things like that, they will tell you that after 4 years, a body, even if it's anchored down, should somehow come up and surface. That hasn't happened. Truly, she's left the face of the earth, and we're just at the end where we're trying to come up with some type of, even minuscule as it may be that you might think, information that will give us another starting point or possibly lead to discovery of where she is.
Next question.
Has there been any cooperation at all from a husband?
No, not at all. From the onset of this investigation, he simply states that he doesn't know where she is. He had nothing to do with it. In fact, Louise and I probably in the next couple weeks are going to go to the prison where he's incarcerated and reach out to him. Louise wants to speak with him directly. His own children have reached out to him to tell them where Lizzie is, and he refuses even to tell his own children that he's had any involvement at all in this.
You do think he's suspect?
He definitely is, yes. There's from the investigation, he definitely is a suspect involved in the disappearance of her. Evidence at the fire scene leads me to definitely believe that it was his work that she's missing today.
Can you reveal that evidence?
Well, the main portion of that, and it was early on, was a diary that she had actually been preparing right up to the night before she was missing, and that diary indicates a large amount of domestic violence directed at her, and him getting more aggressive with her, and that's when the affair came out. And then from our investigation, we were able to determine that he actually killed his first wife in Farmington Hills several years before this incident. So his actions of the first homicide and the child pornography leads me to believe that he definitely had something to do with her disappearance also.
Lizzie, what would you like to say to...
Louise.
I'm sorry,
Sorry,
Louise,
Louise.
I'm sorry.
Sorry.
What do you think you will say to Roger Sweet if you have an opportunity to speak with him?
Just what went wrong. The Roger Sweet that I knew is just not the person that you hear about and you see on television. I mean, Roger and I were family. We've been to, when my mother died, he was right there. I mean, we've been to, with Roger as my brother-in-law, we went through a lot of stuff. I mean, he's been to an emergency room with my oldest child. I mean, my daughter's had pneumonia. She's had fish hooks in her fingers and just all kinds of things, and he was there. So what happened? I mean, what has happened in the last 7 years that would make him do all of this? And what happened in the marriage? I mean, where did the marriage break down? That, you know, the domestic violence started, and I've known about the affair for almost 10 years, but what broke the marriage down like that anyway? Because if you went to my sister's house, you spent time with them, you went to family barbecues, they traveled, and they seemed like there was the happy couple, you know, the perfect couple. There's no perfect anything, but that would be my first thought is, what happened? You know, why did you let so many people down? I mean, my children especially. My children loved Roger, you know, that's Uncle Roger. I mean, they would throw me over a bus to save Roger if there was a choice. And I gave birth to them. So, what happened? I guess that's the question I would ask, what happened?
Do you think that you will be able to get through to him? Do you think you have a chance to do that?
I'm hoping. We used to be family. We used to be very close, like I say. Any major thing that happened in my family, Roger was there. When any major trauma that happened in my family, all I had to do was just call Roger and say, well, Roger, this has happened. I need your shoulder to cry on. Could you come to the hospital with me? Could you come to Georgia with us to bury my mother? Whatever trauma was going on, Roger was there. He was always the shoulder you could cry on. Person, you know, if you're going to fall apart, Roger was the one who was going to be the strong person. Where my sister, she would get upset by anything, you know, just fall apart. Roger, he was the strong one, and he was the one that, when the chips were down, he was the one that, you know, kind of got us through.
Yeah, positively what we know is the night before she became missing, she was scheduled to go back to work the very next day after a long medical. So she left Lincoln Park, Michigan at approximately 9:30, quarter to 10 the night before she came missing. So that was 9:30 in the morning from Lincoln Park to a 10-minute ride back to Brownstown, where her husband says the last time he's seen her that morning, she was laying on the couch at the house. And that's between that Lincoln Park ride, her arriving home, that was confirmed by Roger Sweet. Since that day, she's been missing.
You think the affair may have been a motive? And have you talked with that person?
Yes, unfortunately, that was a given on the original investigation. The victim, remember, in this was a handicapped young lady from the neighborhood, and in Lizzie's diary, she indicated she knew about it, and she made reference to bringing this to the police, and that's when the violence in her diary started escalating. So yeah, I would say that her possibly disclosing the affair with the handicapped girl definitely led to possibly her demise, yes.
I mean, that's not something you really want for your family, you know, to be cut up in a meat one.
It's not a thought you want to
I know,
have in your
I mean,
head.
it's just no pleasant thought.